Welcome to the Kara's Cures digital show. I'm Kara Sundlin, and this is where you're going to find cutting-edge information on wellness. And today, with the Delta variant surging, we're going to be talking about ways to boost our natural immunity to help keep your family safe as we head into what doctors fear could be a twindemic with the flu and COVID-19 this winter. I am joined by Dr. Artemis Morris. She is the author of a Naturopathic Doctor's Guide to Wellness for Immune Support. So she literally wrote the book. And I know you've got some simple things. Thank you, Dr. Morris, for being with us.
Thank you, Kara. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Pleasure to have you here. And of course, Dr. Morris is available. She lives right in Connecticut. She runs the Artemis Wellness Center in Milford. You know, a lot of people have had their vaccines. But they do have children maybe who don't have vaccines, or maybe for whatever reason they haven't gotten a shot yet. And there's always that extra barrier, the most important barrier, you would say, which is our natural immunity. And people may not realize this, but we can really change our natural immunity.
Absolutely. So in basic biology, basic physiology, something we all learned in medical school, it's host versus disease. So the disease, we know about the disease. We know that there is a virus. We know that there are these variants that are coming up that are a little more virulent. I just looked at a study that came in from JAMA about they're definitely more contagious. The vaccine is not working as well in two of the three variants and not as good as it was in the third variant in the Delta. And so, what we have to remember is it takes two to tango. So there's the disease, but we are the host. And as the host of a virus, bacteria, whether it's the flu, COVID, we have a lot that we can do to keep our immune system healthy. And some of the things are actually wonderful, like relaxation. So it's really forcing us, one thing this pandemic has done, I don't know if you feel this way too, has really forced us to look at what do we need to be well, and we can't just keep going and crash, because that's actually, just as important as any other medical intervention you would do, is taking care of ourselves.
Right, and let's talk about the stress response. We're gonna get to the foundational four, which I want everyone to know, the 4 supplements we should be taking ourselves and giving to our kids. Thanks to you, I'm doing that in my house now. But let's talk about stress. I'm under stress all the time. I feel like I don't know how to live if there wasn't stress here, and sometimes it can be a good thing. But we need to moderate it, because how does too much stress really affect our immune system?
So stress is one of the major factors in disease progression. There is a statistic that shows about 90% or more of illnesses are contributed to by stress. And the reason being that what stress does is it's really great for stress to make us, if we have to run to the bus stop, or, quickly get our kids somewhere, or we have to be on, our stress response, that's the sympathetic nervous system that gets us up and going, is great. But when we are constantly under stress, this chronic daily stress where we're feeling fear, we're feeling anxiety, or we're not sleeping well, and the stress, that type of stress really derails our immune system, and it leads to chronic disease. So both of those things are risk factors. Chronic disease increases our risk of mortality, morbidity, making things worse with COVID. And you're treating, one of the causes as well as one of the manifestations there. So double whammy with stress. And there's a lot we can do. It takes time, though.
Yes, and we're all doing the things of washing our hands, and many of us wearing masks again in school or at work. We have that requirement here. But there are 4 foundational supplements that you really think every family should be incorporating to boost our immune system, in addition to diet, which we'll talk about what we should and shouldn't eat in a minute. But if you were going to have something in your medicine cabinet, I've got 4 things on the screen right now: a high-quality multivitamin, purified fish oil, vitamin D, and probiotic. Let's start with the multivitamin, because there's been so much controversy of, do I need to take it? Do I not need to take it? You say yes, we all should take it.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes, because I know there's a lot of information on the internet and different things about zinc and vitamin C and B vitamins. And so the easiest way to get them all in amounts that are optimal is a really good quality multivitamin. And if you're eating really well, if you're like the 1 to 10%, like at most of the population, that's doing their vegetables, doing like all the colors of the rainbow, getting their extra virgin olive oil in, eating the fermented foods, and you have a good gastrointestinal health, then, and you're eating organic and grass fed, and then, you can get away with skipping a multi maybe. But if you want to really optimize the nutrients that are needed for our immune system, for our cardiovascular system, because one thing with COVID-19 and the variant, we really do know now that cardiovascular disease, high blood sugar, is a risk factor. And at the conference I just went to, Dr. Patel from Cleveland Clinic was talking about some of the studies they're doing there, and they're seeing also cytomegalovirus. So any of these additional viruses or bacteria that you are subject to with the flu coming, then we really want to maximize and optimize the nutrients we have and we need for our immune system to be at its best. So for a multivitamin, great quality B vitamins. So you want to look for methylated form, because about 40 to 60% of the population cannot use folic acid, and it's actually worse for them. So you're going to look for those B vitamins, make sure they're methylated, the right form of B12, having some vitamin C in there. It should have some zinc in it as well. And then we look at the next one down the list, which is the essential fatty acids, or the omega-3s, and they're called essential because we can't make them. Yes. We have to take them every day. And one of the things in the preliminary study that they showed from the slides in Cleveland Clinic was that people with long haul COVID, with the COVID, whether it's from vaccine, whether it's from having COVID, that are having symptoms, they were all pretty deficient in omega-3s. So those omega-3s, those are the good quality, that's good quality fish oil.
And people ask what are omega-3s, and I just want to pause for a moment. It's the fish oil, and we all see tons of it at the drugstore, at the grocery store. I know you have special ones on your website that are naturopathic, physician grade, but just to moms who might be listening, I know you've told me in a pinch, the Nordic Naturals brand is good. You can get that at Whole Foods. But the fish oils are what you're talking about. And some say 600 milligrams, some say 1,200. If you're going to go out and get some today, what do you recommend?
So I recommend looking for the best quality, and you want to make sure that they are in a cool, dark place, because you might have a good quality fish oil. And if it sits on a shelf somewhere, and if it doesn't taste like fresh fish, so a really easy way to test it is take one of those capsules and pierce it with something sharp and smell it. And if it doesn't smell like fresh fish, you're actually creating inflammation in your body by taking it. So one of the most important supplements for good quality is the fish oil, because a bad fish oil will lead to inflammation. So it's worth investing in a really good quality fish oil. And, there are some on the market like Nordic Naturals. If you're going to get it through diet, this is wild caught salmon. These are sardines. Make sure that they're good quality. Like Vital Choice is a good quality for food. Whole Foods has some, Trader Joe's has some. But, with the fish oil, for kids, you can get away with like the mixed EPA and DHA. And that would be the lower, 200 milligrams or so of mixed EPA, DHA, like the ones in that I give my kids sometime. And I vary. So I'm doing the fishies right now. And this one has in it about 300 milligrams of mixed EPA and DHA. And, don't worry about the omega-9s. It's the 3s especially that are important. So look for the omega-3s, and then for adults, you want a higher dose. Now, if you're an adult that has a risk, you've got diabetes, you've got heart disease, you've got autoimmune disease, you really want to get to that 2 to 4 even milligrams of mixed EPA, DHA. And unfortunately, if you're vegan, it's going to be really hard to get that, just because biochemically you can get the DHA, but not the EPA. And so I do have brands. So one thing I like to do for my patients, I like to save them money as much as possible. And if someone wants to do it through diet, then, we've got nutrition programs that we're doing seasonally even for patients, and can consult with them. But it sometimes is actually cheaper to buy a very good quality physician grade fish oil, because fish today is very expensive as well.
Yes, absolutely. So you can go to drartemis.com and there's some suggestions there, but just making sure you're not buying just anything, at least when you're talking about the fish oil. Vitamin D, you say that's actually, the studies have shown with COVID, people with vitamin D levels that were low had bigger problems. So of all these things, I know in a prior conversation that's coming, we talked about for Better Connecticut, that vitamin D is one of the most important things that we all, especially in Connecticut and the Northeast, need to be taking it because we tend to be deficient.
Exactly. Yeah, vitamin D, we just don't get enough. It's not sunny enough for us. So we're in that range of the world, in that latitude where most people are going to be vitamin D deficient, starting now. And so vitamin D has been shown in studies. It's responsible for many enzymatic processes for our cells, basically unlocking the cellular potential of our cells. And kids and adults and elderly, so there's different studies that are out there, any of those populations that are deficient in vitamin D, so that's less than 20, and in some studies even less than 40 nanograms per milliliter. You can get this tested with your doctor. If you're less than that,
a lot of doctors are doing the blood now, and so you, what's your number? If you happen to look at your blood report from your doctor, what number do you like to see? I know different doctors have different numbers they're okay with.
So the studies are really showing we want to get definitely at least 40 to 60. Optimal might be more like 50 to 80. But if you're less than 40, then you can start with 1,000 IUs of vitamin D3. If you're less than 20, then you might need more like that 5,000 IUs a day. And some of the studies are showing that you don't want to take a big dose once a week. So
a little bit
I know there
day.
are. Yeah, a little bit every day, because it's still a fat soluble vitamin, so that can get it has to be processed by your liver, and so I like to prescribe a daily dose. And my kids take it in liquid form. You could sneak it in, like there's even for kids, and then mothers that are nursing. There's studies showing that they also need that for their kids. It's really hard to get the vitamin D in, so nursing moms could need it. You can get it in the babies. That's a lower dose, like 400 IUs, and just get it checked. If you're not sure what your status is, it's like, I think the vitamin D, like check your D status along with everything else, and hopefully your insurance is covering this test. But it's called 25 hydroxy vitamin D.
Yep.
And the way you treat it would be with a vitamin D3, which is a fat soluble vitamin. So take it with your fish oil to get absorption. And anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 IUs a day along with K2 is how I prescribe it in adults.
Okay.
So kids is like 1,000, and it prevents respiratory illness in kids.
Yep.
Like there are studies just showing even with the flu.
So lastly, before we end here, the gut is like our second brain. And so if you're having digestion problems, a lot of people with COVID, that's where they got their COVID, was in their gut, with having a lot of gastrointestinal problems. This is where the probiotic comes in, and important, even if you think you're eating okay. We have a lot of processed foods in our American diet and good for the kids. So a little probiotic can go a long way, and you can get some good quality ones, at a good quality health food store. I know you also have some suggestions on our website, but you want people taking a probiotic each day as well. That would be the final fourth of the foundational four.
It is, yeah. So multivitamin D, essential fatty acids, the fish oils, and the probiotic. The probiotic, there's even studies showing that it does help works almost like an antibiotic. So probiotics, in our gut, which is the second brain exactly, will work like antibiotics. They produce certain factors, so a lactobacillus, a bifido. Now, if you're not taking a supplement, make sure you're doing kefir or doing a really good quality yogurt, even making it yourself. If you're at home, you want to try making something, try making your own yogurt. You can also do sauerkraut, fermented foods, but it's absolutely essential for our immune system to have our gut working well.
Yes.
And that will go a long way in terms of immune support. And stress, what does it do? It messes with our gut. So those two go hand in hand. Stress, you got to take care of the stress, and that will help your gut too. And the probiotics even help with anxiety and depression. So most of our tryptophan, most of our neurotransmitters, our tryptophan, some of our dopamine is actually made in the gut. So having good gut health, maybe taking some of those probiotics are also going to help with anxiety and stress that we're all feeling. If you're a little nervous about what's coming, then those will also help on that level. And get some good exercise as well. That's good for all of these things, all your immune system for your risk of chronic disease. So put that one on the list too.
Yes, and you don't want to overwhelm people, but these are 4 simple things. A lot of them are not very expensive. I mean, vitamin D doesn't cost a lot of money. Probiotics you can also get for a reasonable price. Definitely invest in a good multivitamin and fish oil, but again, doesn't have to be more expensive. Just make sure you're getting something that's tested and high quality, and I'll send people to your website in a minute. If there's one thing that you want us to eliminate out of our diet as much as possible that I know causes a lot of inflammation, I think when we're eating a lot of processed foods and sugar, which sometimes we crave more in times like this, that's really doing a number. Eating sugar, and especially too much of it with our kids and us, that really hampers your immune system.
Yes. So sugar is definitely an immune suppressant. And, check your multivitamin, check your vitamins, because I've seen a lot of vitamins that have sugar in it in the form of sucralose, in the form of, so check your vitamins to make sure you're not adding sugar in your diet through your vitamins. And that really important, but definitely cutting out the sugar, and don't feel like you can't have anything sweet just because you're cutting out refined sugar. So, you can do honey, local honey, you can do natural sweeteners found in fruit. That's great. So, you can still have sweets, you can still have dessert, just avoid the type of sweets that are the ones with the refined sugar in it. Use a good quality honey, or if you want to use a little molasses, especially if you're iron deficient, or some of the natural sweeteners would be fine, like stevia, even small amounts for diabetics.
Yes.
So yes, still have some fun.
Dark chocolate is still approved. That's all I care about, right?
Oh, dark chocolate is actually really good for your heart, and it's high in polyphenols. It works like cacao actually works like a prebiotic. So we talked about probiotics, but prebiotics are the things that feed the probiotics. So if you can get it through your diet, that's the best, and have a lot of blueberries. So blueberries covered in dark chocolate would be a double wonderful whammy. And then you get a little bit of the antioxidants too. So
yes,
that might be a good treat to keep on the list.
I've got my cup of green tea here. Goes really well with dark chocolate. I'll give a little shout out. We've done lots of stories with a Connecticut company called Divine Treasures. She makes beautiful, pure dark chocolate. She's right out of Manchester, and it's in different Whole Foods, but you can order online. Ellen DeGeneres, I hear, likes hers, but not a lot of sugar in there. So I want to let everyone know this is, share with your friends. You can have them watch this episode right on the Channel 3 app. Also, you have a book out, and it's available on Amazon. If you want more information on just how to boost your own immunity, we have the Naturopathic Doctor's Guide to Wellness. So Dr. Artemis Morris has this book out. It's available on her website, and you can go learn more about Dr. Artemis right on her website. It is drartemis.com. Follow her on Facebook at Artemis Wellness Center. I know you're always there, and a lot of times, even if we can't get to Milford, that's another good thing about the pandemic. We've been able to do a lot of telephone and Zoom calls, and if you're struggling with your diet or your immunity, you can really help people, and they don't even have to make it to your office.
Right. And we do a seasonal Mediterranean diet detox, which actually is a great way to boost the immune system because we cut out the sugar. So, and you get menu plans, and it's a lot of fun. We've done these together. So absolutely, we're here for you. And we treat people all over the United States too, because now we can do it via Zoom.
Yes. In fact, we have done your detox on Better Connecticut, now Great Day Connecticut. I want to encourage everyone watching to join the Kara's Cures Facebook group. We post a lot of information there. The detox is there. It's a healthy one. I mean, you're a doctor. You don't want us not eating. It's more about just really, I know I had a lot of energy. My skin cleared up. I felt really good on that eating. Which was just really just cutting out the bad stuff and putting in more good. So Dr. Artemis Morris, as always, thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for being here on the very first Kara's Cures digital show. We appreciate it.
It's been my pleasure, Kara. Congratulations. I hope everyone watches. This is wonderful.
Thank you.